Hi, my name's Rich, we're Consumer Hub, and this is the FMCG podcast, the show where we talk all things FMCG and leadership. Today, we are here with St Pierre Groupe, with Paul Baker, the founder, talking all things bakery, brioche, and generally having fun in FMCG. This show has been sponsored by FMCGjobs.com, the job site for fast-moving careers. Let's get to it. Hi, good morning. My name's Rich and we're Consumer Hub, and this is the FMCG podcast, the show that's all about developing your leadership potential within the FMCG sector. Today we've got Paul Baker from St Pierre Groupe with us on the show. Thanks for joining us, Paul. We really appreciate your time. I'm sure the listeners will do as well. Paul, can you just give us a quick snapshot on you and your business?
Yes, I can. Good morning, Rich. Thanks for having me on. My name is Baker. People are probably wondering, is he a baker? Yes, I am. I didn't change my name by default, which I get asked frequently. So I grew up in a bakery in Devon, and it was my father's bakery, and went on to become a baker, a craft baker, for about 8 years. And I studied and did a food science degree, went into industry, product development, process development, production management, did all the roles really, ended up at what is now St Pierre Groupe about 18 years ago, and bought the company basically with Jeremy Gilboy, my co-founder. And at that point, Rich, we were an importer of cakes for the convenience sector, predominantly in some of the multiples, and we've evolved the business over the years. And now we're an international branded bakery business. We've got 3 brands. We've got the St Pierre brand, which is #1 brioche brand in America now, and also available in the UK in the multiples. We've got the Baker Street brand, which is available in the UK and the Middle East, which is a very successful convenience brand. And we've got Paul Hollywood, the guy that nicked my gig on the Great British Bake Off. So we make bread rolls for Paul's brand, which is also available in the multiples in the UK.
Yeah.
So today we're about 120 million revenue this year. Very successful, based in Manchester, but with a global reach.
Yeah, smashing. And you've got a very, very distinctive, very, very cool orange logo as well, which I noticed you're wearing a bit of orange today, so you're flying the flag, yeah. Paul.
Living the brand.
That's it.
It's black.
So you mentioned that St Pierre Groupe's obviously come from your heritage in the family, and then it sort of has evolved out of, so St Pierre Groupe evolved out of another project that you had with your business partner. How did you sort of arrive at the concept of St Pierre? Like, where did that kind of initial idea come from?
That was a brand that we had in the business when we bought it, and it was a tertiary brand. And basically probably about 16 years ago, we rebranded it. And then in 2008, we realized with the financial crash, we realized we needed to change our strategy. And that strategy was to export, because we were buying in from Europe and buying everything in euros. So we needed another income stream. And we decided to really get behind our brands and build our brands. And that's really the genesis of it, quite simply. And we basically built up the brand around French heritage, around brioche as a product, and that's the fundamental in the brand, really. And it's very versatile, brioche. So, and then we took it over to the States, and found great success there. So that's
conquering the pond.
That's how St Pierre came about.
Very exciting. Okay, so what are some of the key trends in the bakery market, and within that context, what makes St Pierre and the brands that you have kind of so compelling as a proposition?
I think there's a convergence here, Rich, of several things really. There's really 3 trends in food, which is premium, convenience, and health. And we all know that health products are covered by plant-based now. That's a huge movement in the food industry now. So we're really more in the premium and convenience areas with our brands. And to answer your question, during the pandemic, people have had to retreat home. They've had to be locked down for all the reasons we know, which I won't bore you with now. But people have been looking for a treat at home. And I'm sure you probably know that the only joy that most people have got right now is elevating their meal at home. And of course, St Pierre leans into that because brioche is very accessible. It's a product that you know, so it's probably a burger bun or a hot dog or a dinner roll or a loaf. But brioche just elevates it. And quite simply, it's enriched with butter and sugar and egg, all the
good stuff.
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
And people are able to elevate their normal meal occasion very, very simply. And that's what people have been doing during the pandemic, is really making their family meal much more special. Baker Street is different. That applies because it's got an extended shelf life. People don't want to go to the store. They don't want to hang around for obvious reasons because of the virus. And so people are able to sort of buy a Baker Street product and it will sit in their bread bin for a week. And that's helped them during the pandemic. And the Paul Hollywood brand, again, that's ready to bake, high quality, and it's again a convenience brand. So to answer your question, really, we've triumphed with premium and convenience in the pandemic, and whether that's here or in America, it's the same story.
Yeah,
and that's really why, it's a very compelling. All of our brands are very compelling for consumers right now because they're versatile. They're doing a job, and they're great quality products. Obviously. Otherwise, I certainly wouldn't put the name to them.
well, I was, I was a bit. I will try their products in a bit, but I was a bit naughty this morning, and I couldn't help myself. I opened some brioche, and they are good. I mean,
they are good. I had, and you can always discover new things. Last night, I had some Lotus Biscoff spread.
Oh yeah.
On some brioche loaf. I toasted it, and it blew me away.
How bad?
And it took me 2 minutes to make. Very quick, very convenient, and really tasty. So, I think if a product can do that, you're really onto something.
Well, it's funny you mention about the whole elevating the everyday. I know the slogan is making every day magnifique, isn't it? Which I really like. We were typical Brits with like a young family before pandemic, where we were just so busy, we just didn't really cook properly. I mean, my missus is a really good cook. I'm not a good cook, but she permits me to cook. And we were just doing standard things. But the last year, we've both really developed the bits of the kitchen that we enjoy. So for me, it's been Saturday fry-ups with the kids, pancakes on a Sunday, roast dinners. And my missus has got really into Italian cooking that takes a lot longer. And we've been buying brioche buns for the fry-ups, especially if we go out for a walk. Because all you can do is you can eat or you can go out for walking. And my lad, he just says to me, he's like, Dad, don't buy the cheap rolls, buy the nice ones. The French ones. So I get the brioche sack. Right, okay.
Yeah, he's on the right track. Does he want a job?
Yeah, he probably would. I mean, he's only 8, but I'm sure he'll give you some good chat. So
yeah, I'm sure he could actually.
But so what are some of the opportunities for the brands at the moment? I mean, you've kind of alluded to the market and the value that they add, but what are some of the opportunities that you see opening up now that the landscape's maybe changing a bit and things are opening up again?
We're the one thing we're not short of in the business, thankfully, is opportunity. We get inquiries literally from all over the world now. I think because we're in the UK multiples, because we're in the US in a big way, people see our brand now, and we know that when somebody tries our brands actually, they come back. So the opportunity for us is really quite simple. It's just a scale. I never thought we would get the business to where we are today. It's already beyond my wildest dreams. I used to do a £1 million revenue with my father with 60 people, and we're doing 120 million revenue with 60 people here. So and the opportunity is just huge. And I think there's a lesson in that, Rich, actually. We've got some of the best food manufacturers in the world in the UK. And some of the best retailers, I might add, as well. But exporting really has transformed our business. And now that Brexit's gone through, I think it's really important that companies do look at exporting. It takes time, but the opportunities it brings are phenomenal. And you learn from it as well. I think you can offer your customers a lot. There's so many benefits. Our team gets to travel all over the world, which for a bakery business in the UK is unusual, to be quite honest. And you're continuously learning. You're continuously having to learn about new cultures, new people, and new consumers, and new ways of doing things. So, and we've all in the past year had to change massively. But yeah, we're not. Fortunately, we're not short on opportunity, which is a very nice position to be in, I might add. Well, I know that there's a lot of companies who've really suffered through the pandemic, and we've really done our utmost to step up and do our bit for those perhaps less fortunate than ourselves. And we recognise that we're a beneficiary, and I think our team have done a magnificent job in supporting those who are perhaps a lot less fortunate than us.
Well, it's been great to read about the story in the grocer and follow you guys in the press, and it's something that's come across in the news cuttings that kind of come to my attention is this massive success pulling up trees over in the US, because that is notoriously difficult to do as a UK brand, is to pull up trees in the US. But actually, there's a couple of guys at the moment that we've done some collaborations with, people like Ugly Drinks, that they're doing really well as well. And I mean, there's plenty of guys that have tried it and failed. I mean, what do you think has given you that secret to success with cracking the US market and cracking export? Because it is difficult. It is, like I say, it's a different skill set, isn't it, to deal with the malts?
Do you know, there's not one simple answer to that. It's a big question, that, Rich, really, and we get asked it a lot. I think it all starts with the product. First of all, you have to have a product that's going to resonate with Americans. So I think we started there about 8 years ago. For the first 3 years, we didn't sell anything. We just researched it. So if I was going to answer your question as best as I can, the first thing is I think you need to like America. I know it sounds a bit funny, that, but you genuinely need people who like being in America and like the American way of life. That's the first thing, because you've got to deal with a lot of Americans, and all of my team love the Americans. They're great. They're our cousins, so they're great. Yeah. So I think that's the first thing. You've got to be able to reach them and understand the way they live, appreciate the way they live, and be able to deal with them. And they are very, very different. They're very different to us. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you've got to get your head around the geography. It really does. When you start running around America, you really begin to understand just how enormous it is. Vast. So you have to get your head around distribution. You have to understand how you can move your product effectively, efficiently, profitably around a huge geography. That's really, really important. And then you've got to spend some time understanding. You've got to go there. You've got to spend some time there. We've got a team of 7 in the States now, but all of my UK team do spend time in the US, because that's the only way you learn. You can't do it from a desk. You can, we've had to in the past year, but that's after 7 years of routinely spending time in the market. And that goes for any market, I would say. Any export market you can go to, you've got to go there. Go out to restaurants, talk to the local people, and really get an understanding of the culture. And then you've got to get your offer right. The last thing is you've got to get your offer right. The price point, quality, the branding, and it's got to be consistent, your service level. Probably one of the biggest factors was our partner in the US. We've got a great partner, a company called Le Perry Foods. They've been phenomenal at helping us to crack the US. And, if you went to a textbook, they wouldn't be the textbook people to go to. Right. But, we met them at a trade show, and we hit it off with them. And they've done a phenomenal job at helping us to become America's favorite brioche brand, basically. So there's a kind of real thread there of making sure that you don't lose sight of the people, whether that's your distribution partners or your kind of qual insights from, actually just chatting to Americans. That is very interesting, because I think and you don't need a big team, Rich. You don't need a big team. Yeah. You need a few dedicated people who are prepared to do the hard yards, basically, and be prepared to take phone calls in the middle of the night, because that's when your customer wants to speak to you. It might be 2 a.m., but it's 6 p.m. in California. So they're a customer. So you pick up the phone. And, it's a mindset, really. You've got to get your mind into, we're going to do this. And I think, I was very fortunate to have a great team working with me. And it's been a lot of fun. You've got to make it fun. If it's not fun, why are you doing it?
Well, you got some fun brands, and you're living the brand there, Paul. That's good. That is fun.
But it should be fun.
It's
We spend too long working, Rich, don't we? Really, let's be honest here.
well, yeah. Our logo is a pink donut, so I'm all about having fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody said to us after we set the company, "That's not very corporate." I said, "Well, I'm not a very corporate guy, so pink donut is." But
got sprinkles.
Well, he's got sprinkles on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
So one of the things that's really interesting is you guys seem to have, you've got a true multi-channel offering. You've got brands that address different needs, and then you've also got a variety of routes to market, which is really broad. I mean, from my perspective, looking in, that seems to give you a real strength and the kind of, something that's quite unique. How have you gone about building that kind of sort of multi-layered offering? Because it's quite unique. Often people sort of hang their hat on one thing. You seem to have like a lot of different areas that you kind of really specialise in and drive in different channels. It's quite...
Yeah, it's funny how your business evolves, isn't it? And how channels evolve and how even channels converge. We do a lot of business with Booker and Tesco, and of course they came together, and we were in both of those channels, and then they converged. So a bit of it's consolidation maybe, but I think in any business you've always got to have your eye on the future and where is it going. And if I go back to 2008, we knew we needed to do something to change course, and we didn't know how to export. I'll be honest with you, we knew nothing about exporting. But we got to the task in hand. We knew we had to do it for the longevity and the success of the business and the security of the team. And that's what we set about doing. But that's the challenge. You're always learning. And I think, the point you make about us being in lots of different channels, I'm looking at direct to consumer now. We may not do that for 2 or 3 years, but this is a sort of unveiling stage. We're understanding it. It's an area that we could be in. That's not to say we're going to come out of any of the areas we're in. We're not. We just bolt it on because if that's where consumers are going and that's what they want, why wouldn't we look at it to future-proof our business? And if we hadn't looked at export starting in 2009, we'd be a very different company today. In fact, we probably wouldn't have weathered the pandemic, frankly, with Brexit and all the problems that have come through that, and opportunities, I might add. I don't think it's all bad. But I think you've constantly got to be looking at what consumers are doing and how are they buying, where are they purchasing, what are the risks, and you've got to mitigate those risks. And I think over the years we've just got better at understanding what we need to be doing and where we need to be doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, Rick.
No, that's really interesting. It's interesting the point you make about the recession being a fitness test and a chance to learn. I mean,
it was. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and it nearly did kill us. Let me tell you, it nearly took us under.
Yeah.
And it made us change our strategy. People think we're an overnight sensation, but we've been at this for 18 years.
Yeah, that is a really interesting theme with everybody I speak to. That's really sort of smashing it. They'll say, look, no, don't believe the headlines. This is not overnight. No. This is a lot of hard yards that you've never seen. Let me tell you about that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of dedicated people, frankly.
Yeah.
We've got a relatively small team for our revenue, really. But we've got great partners all over the world, and that makes a difference. And it's my job and Jeremy's job to make sure that those people are looked after well, and they're motivated and invigorated, and we open up opportunities for them that perhaps other companies don't offer them.
Yeah,
which keeps it fun and exciting and interesting.
Well, I just wanted to give the guys watching this or listening to it just a bit of a kind of more of a deep dive on the products themselves. So I want to start with the orange because that's signature, isn't it? You're wearing orange. That seems to be the number one.
It's a warm bakery colour, isn't it?
You what? Sorry.
It's a warm bakery colour.
It's lovely.
Orange is like the fire, isn't it? It's like the oven. So it's one of those warm bakery colours. It signposts really well in a retail environment as well. So it works on lots of levels. Really.
Well, as well. For me, I mean, I love France. I'd go and camp in the Bordeaux region with family, and it's that warm French evening, isn't it? It's just very French.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny you say that because Jeremy and I were in Saint-Germain in Paris one evening, and the thing if you've ever been to Paris, what you don't perhaps realise about Paris is in the evening, their street lights are a particular type of light, and it floods the place with this orange glow. it's only when somebody points it out to you, because it's very subliminal, that you see it.
Yeah.
So we felt that, there were lots of compelling reasons to go with orange. It's a very positive color. It's Paris in the evening. It's the warmth of a fire, and it resonates with brioche, which by virtue is, a lovely hue of yellow orange. So for us, it was a very simple decision to go with that color, really.
Yeah, and as with all good brands, I think a clear signpost into your area of the category. It's not overly diluted with complex messaging. It's St Pierre, it's orange. This is what we do, and I love it. What would you? So I just want to try a couple of the products for the people watching this. That's one of the things we like to do.
Right.
We've got the brioche baguettes, the burger buns, the British burger buns. We've got the waffle, the rolls, the pain au chocolat. What's your favourite, Paul?
My favourite is this one, actually. It's brioche loaf.
Brioche loaf, okay.
That's my favourite.
Yeah.
I think, this is such a versatile product. French toast, straight out the back.
Is that what you had with the Lotus?
It is, yeah. And for me, it's quick and versatile. So that's why I like it. But our biggest seller is this one, which is the burger buns.
Okay.
And I mean, if obviously, if you go to America and you've got a great burger bun and you've got a great hot dog roll.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So this is a great product. We just launched the seeded burger bun. That's great. And actually, probably my favourite snack. Did you get some of these, Rich?
We did. That is the millionaire waffle. Yeah.
Yeah, those are phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, this is like these are just amazing.
I've been given strict instructions by Adam, my business partner, not to eat it all.
Look at that.
Oh. It's tasty. So,
I made a mess of my desk, but yeah, they're really good. They're really, really good.
So what's in that one there, Paul? So what I've got here is a caramel one. So that's a millionaire waffle, okay?
Yeah, so this is a waffle here with caramel, and it's coated in milk chocolate. And this is called a millionaire's waffle. Yeah. These are absolutely delicious. Very, very Moorish.
Where can people get them in the UK? Where can they get them from?
Yeah, they're in all sorts of convenience stores actually across the UK. There's a whole range of products. There's waffles and pain au chocolat, croissant. And I say croissant there like the Americans.
Okay,
it's really croissant.
The
Americans say croissant, and the French say croissant.
Well, that's good though. Your international travels are rubbing off on you. Shows you're living in.
It's amazing what you learn when you run around the world.
So I'm just going to show the guys this. It's very, very, very tasty looking waffle. Look at that.
That's the caramel waffle. And actually, if you put that on top of a cup of coffee, it warms the caramel. And you just leave it on the top of your cup of coffee for a minute, and it just transforms the product. Not so good with the chocolate one. Makes a bit of a mess, but we got products for all occasions.
Oh yeah. Well, again, elevating the everyday. That is something we got into it more.
Yeah, I mean, we call them brioche burger buns, but actually, I eat them at the weekend just with some really nice French salted butter and some strawberry jam, and it's like a breakfast roll. They're just so, and I think it's that versatility that really underpins our success. Really, Rich. It's brioche is such a versatile product, and it confers a little bit more than perhaps a normal bun or a normal roll.
It's good. It's good weekend. I mean, I read a really interesting grocery report that was talking about trends for cooking, and pretty much it's polarized. During the week people are trying to be good. The weekend nobody wants to be good. They want to be naughty. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to just live it up, have the best. And certainly that's the case for us.
And why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It's
you only get to live once.
We don't claim. We're not. We do the nice stuff. The stuff that puts a smile on your face. It's the bakery products that put a smile on your face. And actually, right now, joy has been in short order. So I think if you can, buy food products that put a smile on your face and make your meal occasion a memorable occasion, I think that's really important. Yeah. I think this summer particularly, I think people are going to come back together, families are going to come back together, and food will feature hugely. And those will be memories that people take with them for life, because we've all been, segregated for such a long time. So food plays a really important role in engendering those memories, I feel.
And you've obviously got the Baker Street proposition, which is about convenience, long life,
Yeah.
kind of. It's really kind of a very practical solution to a
It
problem
is.
which we all face. So we've got quite a few samples here. We've got the burger buns and the hot dog rolls. Which one's your best seller?
The best seller is burger buns. I mean, burger buns
Yeah.
trump everything, really, particularly when we're going through the summer. Summer, you get huge seasonal spikes. But actually, in Baker Street, our best seller is a sliced loaf.
Ah, yeah.
And we came out with the sliced loaves because food waste is a big problem, Rich.
Yeah.
It is. And bread is the product that people throw away most. So having a long life bread that can sit in your bread bin and there's no compromise on quality is really important, because most people end up throwing away half a loaf at the end of the week. And there's it's just because it's gone out of date and it's stale and going moldy in the bread bin. Our products overcome that issue. And there's no compromise. There's no compromise. So that's, and I think consumers are far more aware of all of these things as they should be. And obviously we're helping with that.
Well, it's a massively current element of the sustainability agenda, isn't it? Cutting down on food waste. There is an article most weeks somewhere in the press about that issue, and it's great. And so do you work closely with Paul then? Do you work on the products together?
Yeah, I mean we haven't worked closely with him in the past year for obvious reasons, but yeah, he's great. Paul is involved in the development of the products. He's a great guy, actually. I know he gets some bad press, but he's done an amazing job for our industry over the past I don't know how many years now, 8 years, something like that. And I think the Bake Off's great. I think it's a great program. I always felt that there was room for that on British TV, because people say, why is it successful? It's a really simple premise. Mums and dads make fairy cakes at home with their children. It's something achievable.
Yeah.
It's not, and I think it's wonderful that it's so successful with families and children. It inspires children to get interested in food.
Well, everybody loves it, don't they?
Yeah.
It's my daughter's number one request if we do something at the weekend is let's bake, Dad. And she bakes most weekends, and she has her own books and she bakes stuff. But the lads, they're like, come play Lego with me. Molly's like, we're baking, Dad. And then it's 2 hours. You lose yourself in it. It's really creative, and whatever happens, you've won. You've always won at life baking, because you've got something really nice at the end of it that you've enjoyed.
And he is a true expert. Paul really does know what he's talking about. He's one of those experts on TV that you can trust what he's saying. I mean, I can stand toe to toe with him, but he knows his stuff. He does know his stuff when it comes to bakery and particularly bread. Yeah. And that's why I think it's so compelling, because Mary Berry, fantastic. Yeah. She's the queen of cakes. And I think Paul is the king of bread. So no, we were very thrilled, and still are, to work with Paul. And he is a super guy.
It's passed the Paul test, the quality test, if it's got his name on. He's not an easy judge, is he? He never appears that way anyway.
He probably had the better name for the Bake Off than me. Just pit me.
well, maybe you'll get your own programme, Paul. Maybe we'll see you soon.
I don't know about that. I'm quite busy at the minute doing what I'm doing here, actually.
You do seem pretty busy.
I think I got too much spare time to do that, but who knows? Maybe if Paul gives it up, maybe I'll go for a screen test.
You come in as a standby. You're on the benches. But I mean, one of the things that we get asked all the time in recruitment, and that was kind of what, actually, when the recession was biting last year, we had a bit more time on hands. We're like, well, what value can we add? We hopefully want to invest in people's careers for the long term. And the key questions people always have for us always centre around leadership and how they can develop themselves. And that I just wanted to pick your brains a little bit on kind of what advice you would give commercial talent coming through the sector that may be thinking about moving from something that's more blue chip, more structured, into more of an entrepreneurial environment. What advice springs to mind if you're speaking to that situation that kind of they're thinking about making that change into a
Yeah, it's an interesting question, actually, and I suppose Jeremy and I we came from corporate businesses, and I suppose we both rejected the structure that's involved, and maybe you feel like a very small cog in a very big machine. So we wanted to develop a business where people really, really properly felt valued and had the autonomy to make decisions. And so I think to answer your question, if you're coming from perhaps a blue chip to an entrepreneurial business, I think that agility of mindset is important. You've got to have that mental agility to flex what you're doing, because you might be doing all sorts of different things and there may not be the structures or processes in place. So you've got to be quite agile and you've got to think on your feet a bit. And that's quite a skill set, actually. And you also need to be able to manage change, because you won't be in one job, in one lane. You might be in one job, but in actually a very, very broad range of tasks and functions. So I think having that agility is really important. Can-do attitude. In an entrepreneurial business, a constant in our business is change. You touched on it earlier in how we're in so many places and so many channels and so many geographies and so many brands. It takes a lot mentally for people to cope with that complexity, because it does become incredibly complex. But the benefits there are, in an entrepreneurial business, you can be a big fish in a small pond and you can make a real impact. We've had people who've joined our business to do work experience, come to us when they've done their degree, and now managing large parts of our business. There's multiple people like that, and for me and Jeremy, that's very satisfying. It's very satisfying to see people evolve in your business, and I think it's not for everyone. I'll be honest. If you like the corporate world, moving to an entrepreneurial business, really think carefully about that move, because it can be quite different. If you know yourself and you know what you like, and we love it.
That definitely comes through. Well, that is really interesting. Just that idea of knowing yourself and being aware of what would you, if there's somebody on the edge and I don't know, they're at a point in their career they can probably take a chance. Would you say go for it? Would you say it's kind of drawing down that corporate experience is worth the excitement? I think I know what you're going to say.
Well, I would, but I'm not everyone. I mean, like I've said repeatedly, we do like to have fun what we're doing. So often that gets lost in the mix.
Yeah.
But you spend a long time working. We've got great offices here. We're not Google. I mean, we're not crass about it. We haven't got a ping pong table or anything like that. But we do team events where people get together and have fun and just go out for a night and all that sort of stuff. And it's really important. It's really important part of the business. That you've still got to do your job. You still got to do all the figures and do what you've got to do and all that sort of stuff. But you got to enjoy what you do.
Oh, what kind of more broadly? You've obviously had commercial success in a variety of areas, variety of brands, variety of channels. Commercial success in FMCG. I mean, it's so broad. I mean, you can always get lost in it. If you're a young marketing manager or sales manager in FMCG, and you're thinking, right, how do I develop the kind of the character and the qualities of attitude to succeed longer term? Like, sort of, what would you say people need to sort of distill down and work on to be sustainable in their own career development over long term in commercial and FMCG?
Well, look, there's always a set of metrics you've got to deliver on for your customers, and it's getting ever more taxing. But what I would say is, whether it's commercial or whether it's marketing, be bold. Don't follow the pack, because everybody does that, and that's easy. And a lot of people do it because it's easy. It's actually more difficult to set yourself a challenge and say, let's do this. We don't know how to do it. It's quite bold. It's quite audacious. But if we pull this off, personally, and as a team and as a business, we're going to set ourselves apart. And, there's multiple examples in our business where, you throw down a gauntlet to somebody, or they indeed throw down the gauntlet to themselves and succeed. As in, we talked about breaking America or getting into the UK multiples or developing an account, or from a marketing perspective, doing something that's, incredible. Give you an example, we have 8,000 Eiffel Tower off-fixture displays in America, 8,000. And they probably stand, I'm about 6 foot, they're about as high as me. Now, when we first came up with that idea, everybody was like, no, that's not going to work. Multiples aren't going to take that.
Yeah.
You never get it in the UK. You never get it to work. 8,000. They're in the UK now. They're in Ireland. They're in America. We have our own display. It increases sales. Customers love it. It's audacious. It's bold. And don't be, my final word would be, don't, come up with the idea. Take a bold idea, take a bold initiative, think it through, get the detail done, get it proposed properly. But that would be my advice to young people is be a bit bold, because there's a lot of sheep. There's a lot of sheep in FMCG. I'm always saying to our marketing, don't copy other brands. I don't want to copy any other brands. We're not doing Colin the Caterpillar. I'm not interested in copying other brands.
No Cuthbert for St Pierre.
If anything, I want them copying us, which is quite hard, Rich. It's quite hard to be, to come up with those ideas and that innovation, whether it's in a commercial role, designing a JBP, or whether it's in a marketing role, coming up with a social media campaign. It's the same principles that you've got to apply, but in a very different way. And actually, you can run that right through your business. It's not just commercial and marketing, I'd say, whether it's supply chain, finance, you can apply it anywhere. And it's being a bit bold. And from where I sit, it's giving the people the freedom and the confidence to do those things, to make those decisions, and supporting them when they make those decisions, so that they do it again and they repeat that success. And then it becomes self-servicing. And I think it's great for the individual as well. It stretches an individual. So, yeah.
There's an interesting kind of twin thread running through there, what you're saying about being bold and how that links to actually having a personality and letting that come through. And I think that's something that I see a lot in the brands that we work with and collaborate with, is the ones that really are winning at the moment in quite a disrupted environment. They just let their personality flow, but they don't do that at the expense of strong execution. I think that's sometimes something that people miss. Right. They assume that if you're quirky, you have a personality, you're going to be slapdash and a bit all over the shop. That's not the case, is it? You can execute and yet still have fun.
No, I mean, your service levels, your customer service, all of it, your quality. You've got to be on it all. You can't. We're in FMCG. You've got to have everything pinned down. There's no quarter for failure on any aspect, and that's a huge challenge. But if you get the right people, you just crack on with it. That's how we've been able to do what we've done. Quite simply, great people around us who get what we're trying to do, who we support, and that's it. You go about it. It's tough, we got 3 successful brands in a private label dominated market in the UK. And we went to America 7 years ago and cracked it, and there's a lot of businesses that haven't cracked America, but it is dedication. It's dedication of people and focus and all that good stuff. And like I say, we just make sure we have a bit of fun along the way.
And just lastly, final question for you, Paul. Any resources or books that you sort of particularly highlight or recommend to people looking to develop as a leader in FMCG?
Yeah, probably left field ones, actually. Not your normal. I normally have 3 or 4 books on the go, Rich. And one I read recently was by Ed Catmull, and he was one of the guys at Pixar. And of course, Pixar got bought by Disney. And it's a great story. It's a great story about how to manage creativity, and very creative people do something that's industry changing, like they did with Toy Story. And it's his journey through that business, from a startup to a business that was bought by Disney and actually started a whole new culture for animated films that we all know and love, like Monsters, Inc. and Toy Story. It's fascinating. And it's stuff So it's not like preaching you about, all the management books out there telling you how to do it. It's something relatable. Yeah. It's very relatable. And so that's why Ed Catmull, and it's called Creativity Inc. If you want something more on the sort of everyday side of it, Simon Sinek, he's great. Yeah. Start with Why. That's a great book. I'm reading The Infinite Game at the moment, which is also good. So there's 3 there for you that
Brilliant.
I'd recommend. They're interesting reads.
I love the left field one. They're almost my favourites because I always find I personally grow in what I do the most when there's sort of elements that transfer across other sectors into this world, and it just keeps it fresh, doesn't it? So that's really
Well, it
good.
does, yeah, and I think that's important. I think in any business, you've got to look outside your business and look in other areas. I do that as well. And they all feed each other, actually.
Yeah.
What we learn in the US, we bring back to the UK and deploy it. What we learn in the UK, we take over there and deploy it. And it works both ways, and indeed the Middle East and beyond. So, yeah, I think you should always be looking outside of your business and outside of your channel or your sector, and just getting a good overview of what's going on.
Yeah,
culturally as well. Not just from a business perspective, but culturally as well.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for your insights today. It's been fascinating hearing about the St Pierre journey, St Pierre Groupe, hearing about your journey. And thank you also for the insights that you've shared to all our listeners and viewers on leadership and FMCG. Just finally, how can people follow you and the brand? LinkedIn, you on there? You active?
LinkedIn is the only place you can find me. I do have an Instagram account, but it's a private one I don't really use anymore. But we're on all the channels, actually. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, you'll find me. So yeah, we're on all those channels. YouTube, we're moving on to now as well. So yeah, quite prolific, really. Lots of recipe ideas on Instagram and TikTok.
That's what we want from tasty bakers. That's good.
That's where you need to go at the weekend, Rich, when you start emptying out your office, because that office will be empty by about 5 o'clock this afternoon. All those products behind you.
Good. Well, I'll be nipping back for some Lotus spread on the way back.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Though. Very simple as well.
But look,
I like simple.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been loads of fun. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for joining us. If you're a viewer or listener, do make sure to follow Paul and the gang on social. If you've enjoyed it, reach out, let them know. Thank them for their time, because we really appreciate the investment people put into this podcast for you. And we will see you again soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks to FMCGjobs.com for supporting this video. FMCGjobs.com is a global job advertising solution for the fast-moving consumer goods industry. Register for free as a candidate and create your specific job target to get live updates and alerts. Head over now to FMCGjobs.com for your next opportunity. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Check out the playlist here for more content like this. Click the donuts to subscribe so you never miss an update, and give us a like and a comment so we know what content you'd like to see from us. See you next time.